Today's show is brought to you by Hopsterette.com. Grown in the esteemed Yakima Valley on the Peterball family farm, Hopsterette.com offers the widest variety of hops available online at incredibly competitive pricing. It's simple. They grow hops, they sell hops, and they ship hops straight from their family-owned farm to your doorstep. Producing the highest quality hops is Hopsterette.com's passion, and they're proud to be an independent grower in the craft beer industry. Go to Hopsterette.com right now and get what you need to make your brew day better. That's Hopsterette.com. Today's show is brought to you by Imperial Yeast. You hear us gushing over Imperial Yeast all the time, and that's because their yeast performs for us in every batch that we brew. Imperial Yeast is adored by commercial breweries and home brewers alike. Their pitch-right pouches are jam-packed with over 200 billion fresh yeast cells, guaranteed to deliver flawless, fast fermentations every time. Imperial Yeast strains are grown by a team of pro brewers and home brewers who live to help other brewers learn more and ferment better. Join any recipe receiving tier of our Trub Club and get a free upgrade to premium Imperial Yeast with every recipe kit that ships out to you. Learn more at homebrewhappyhour.com/club and come brew with us.
Entertaining shows with content that spreads information and sparks discourse throughout the community. This is the Pearl Media Network.
Choosing commercial couplers, dumping Trub from a Conical, 15-minute hops follow-up, and do I need to pressure test my kegs? This is Homebrew Happy Hour, episode 303. Well, hello and welcome back to another episode of the Homebrew Happy Hour. This is the show where we supply the answers to your homebrewing questions and discuss all things related to craft beer. If you have a question you'd like us to discuss on a future episode, go to homebrewhappyhour.com, click on that submit a question link at the top of the page, or now you can call or text them in by using 325-305-6107. I am your host, Joshua Stubing. Today, I'm joined by the Director of Operations at cmbecker.com down there, Mr. James Carlson, as well as the President and Chief Keg Washer of kegconnection.com, Mr. Todd Burns. Gentlemen, how's your week been? How's it going? How are things?
It's been a week.
It has been a week. Yeah, it's been a week. So I posted a thing. We do a weekly meeting with our with various vendors and stuff, but every week we do meet with our good friend Stefan Becker from CMB Schankenlagen, and Todd referred to me derogatorily as numbnuts during the meeting.
I did.
I changed my name on my Zoom, and no one noticed during that meeting. I went the rest of that meeting with numbnuts.
Did you really? Oh gosh!
Never noticed it.
I took a screenshot and put it on my Instagram. I was like, I was waiting for you to notice, Todd. I changed my name to numbnuts.
Oh yeah.
I changed it back for this call.
We won't. We don't have to go on to how much you annoyed me. So just to say you did. How about that?
You know what annoys me? You know what grinds my gears? Has nothing to do with you. It was 44 when I woke up this morning. And now it's 77, according to my Google Home hub here on my desk. I'm blasting the AC right now. I'm staying in winter fall mode with my Homebrew Happy Hour sweatshirt, Der Beste Podcast aller Zeiten, available if you click merch at homebrewhappyhour.com. And my beanie. I refuse to give it up. Is it warm there already too? Did it warm up today?
No, it's pleasant.
It hasn't been warm enough to wear a beanie all day.
You mean cold enough to wear a beanie?
No, cold enough or warm enough. I don't know. I don't understand why people wear beanies when it's 100.
Well, you look at Tim Pool. He wears it 24 hours a day.
I'm bald, Todd. My head gets cold.
I think that's why he wears it too.
Is he bald? Oh, okay. Well,
it's got to be. Nobody's seen him without a hat on, so he's got to be bald.
Todd, it's 44. That's cold. That's cold.
I walked out of the t-shirt. I actually got up a little early this morning, 4 a.m. and I got to work before 6. So
I know my inbox. Cool. My inbox. I sat down at my desk at like 7:15 when I got back from dropping my kid off from school, and I had like 8 emails from you. I was like, oh, it's going to be one of those days, and it was. It was a Josh is a numbnuts kind of day so far. So
you know why?
Because I'm a numbnuts. Coming on 15 years of being called numbnuts, but you know what? To be fair, you've said worse, so it's like numbnuts, not that bad.
Yeah, not that bad.
Which does lead me to say, if you're at kegconnection.com, go check out the secondary regulator section. How beautiful is that, Todd? They could see the brand new.
Oh yeah, wow! Look at that.
The brand new CM Becker secondaries, and James, you can check that out too. We're trying to. CM Becker has diversified its portfolio. I guess you could say it's expanded. The regulator was released, and now y'all are using it, James, to do secondary. It's a very versatile regulator. Is I guess what I'm saying.
It really is. Yeah, you can use it for nitrogen, for CO2. It's a very versatile regulator.
And there's a whole video too on it at our YouTube channel, youtube.com/homebrew happy hour that you did, Todd, showing the versatility and the basics of it. I think, we've had the primary version of it out for 5 weeks, 6 weeks, give or take. And already gotten a lot of good feedback, and people love it. The adjustment way, the way you've set it, and that they can set it and then lock it so that people can't mess with it, has been a big hit, as well as just the fact that it works. Unfortunately, sometimes our industry gets flooded with stuff from a certain part of overseas, and they're just trying to throw stuff at the wall to see what sticks. And with regulators, it's been, it leaks or it creeps. With distillate too, James, I guess I'm preaching to the choir, because all the knockoffs that came from China to try to mimic CM Becker regulators, how many calls do you get that's like, man, my distillate's leaking from the top, or I can't get it to seal, or blah 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 blah, and you ask them like, well, does it say CMB on it? And they're like, no, I just assumed it was CM Becker. No, it's not.
I had an email chain this morning. I bet it was 20 emails back and forth. They were all fairly short, although some of them were long. Guy just could not get his kegerator to stop foaming. Well, he bought a brand that I've never heard of before, and it just came with the cheesiest regulator you've ever seen. I'm almost certain he overcarbonated his beer, even though he had it set for 10 psi. I think it's actually continuing to shoot CO2 in there, because he has 2 kegs, and they both seem terribly overcarbonated. So I don't know what's going on, but
that's the guy I forwarded you, because I have no idea.
Thanks. Yeah.
That started getting you annoyed with me this morning. Yeah, that was the beginning.
Yeah, no, I listen. The guy was real nice. He's just trying to get help, but it was a lot of emails.
No, I just mean I can imagine 5 a.m. Todd Burns at the computer and seeing me without context just forwarding emails to you. I didn't.
Yeah. You don't even try. You didn't even respond to the guy.
I did. That's true. I apologize. Let me see for our small talk. I didn't redo the small talk. This still says Todd is out of town. Todd, you're not out of town. Let's talk about why you were out of town. You went hunting for the first.
I did.
You did your antelope hunt for the first time in 3 years.
4 years. 4 years. I missed the last 3 years, so this would be year number 4, and it was a lot of fun. I noticed one of our questions today is from Montana, right?
Let's see here. There is a Joel from Montana. That's right.
Yeah. So I actually was not only in Wyoming, but I was also in Montana, because I went to see the Little Bighorn where Custard.
I didn't know you did that. I didn't see.
Oh, you did? I thought I sent photos.
James, did you get those photos? No, me neither.
Oh. Well, you remember his cell service was terrible out there.
Yeah,
so we didn't get a whole lot of stuff.
Yeah, maybe I missed. Maybe it didn't go. Anyway, I went. It was very, very cool. If anybody ever gets a chance to go, highly recommend it. It's you kind of look over the battlefield, and you drive on this road, and you get to see everything that happened from start to finish, and you were still thinking to yourself, why did they think it was a good idea for 100 and something guys to attack 2,000 or 3,000 extremely well armed with a lot of modern guns, Indians? I mean, it's just total. The guy, I don't know. He was pretty sure of himself, but he was wrong.
My kind of guy, man. I like How often that should be the title of my memoir about all the bets I lose to you. Extremely sure of himself.
He was pretty sure of himself, but he was wrong.
Yeah, that's how I bet every time. I come out the gate. Oh yeah, but I will say, update for me. My $5 bet with Todd that I'd make no more $5 bets or lose any more $5 bets to him this year is still going strong because I'm not making any $5 bets with him for the rest of this year. I'm winning on a technicality. It is opening weekend is coming up. And
let's see how Kolsch-induced Josh feels about it.
You're gonna get me boozed, and I'm gonna be like, all right, I'll bet you $5 that Lincoln wasn't the president, or I don't know what we'll come up with. But what about the beer situation? Because y'all drove. Did you take any beer? Did y'all?
Yeah. So I took the ESB and I took your favorite pepper beer.
You took the Sterling pills. You took that?
The Sterling pills. Yeah, everybody loved it. By the way,
no, they didn't.
A lot of people preferred it over the ESB.
No, they didn't.
I swear, people love it. My friends all like it too.
Your friends are idiots.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you just don't like pepper. That's the problem.
Maybe, yeah. No, I'm the son of a Mexican mother. Everything has too much pepper in it. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I know. I like the hop. I've really. No, you don't. I may start brewing with it exclusively. So I took a 2.5 gallon keg and a 3 gallon keg, and we pretty much drank all of it. We did have a little. I took the larger one was a Sterling. We did have a little of that left over, but I did hit the ESB. I do love that ESB.
5 gallons between. There's 9 of y'all on this trip.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's not that much for a guy's trip for a week. No. You were gone for a week.
Yeah, but I think we drank about 5 gallons of whiskey too. So
That does sound like your friends. Now, wait, James, is Sterling a noble hop? I forget. It's not, right?
No.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
I was going to say, because I'd hate for him to come out with like I'm going to do a Sterling Kolsch, Josh, or a Sterling Alt. That would be.
That's a great idea.
Sorry,
Kolsch.
I don't know whose voice that was. I'm going to do a Sterling Kolsch. That's not a good one. I'm not on it. My throat's a little sore. I got to take a coldies or something. Okay, so Todd did that. Let me talk about our Trub Club recipe. If you go to patreon.com/homebrew happy hour, you join one of our recipe receiving tiers, you're going to be brewing, boom, right there, the California Common. Look at that. And it's updated to actually show the pouch of cable car yeast from our friends at Imperial Yeast, the longtime sponsors, friends of the show, Imperial Yeast, our good friends. And I know that the yeast just came in. I have it on good authority that it arrived. So these should go out next week on time when I'm up there. And I got you some Harvest, James. I don't know if you noticed that.
Awesome.
I
haven't looked at it.
That's all
for
you.
Came in today.
All the Harvest that came in is all for you because I didn't get any other pouches of anything else. So enjoy that.
I can't wait to say this. Sorry to interrupt y'all because I couldn't remember the exact term that they kept using when I was looking at Sterling, but like Brewlosophy, several other ones, they say bred as an alternative to noble hops. Oh, yeah. So they're supposed to be used like a noble hop. So I'm totally within the type of style to use that in any type of beer that needs a noble hop.
Stop it. You got to stop it. You have a problem. If you start I will slander your name on the internet if you start brewing more Sterling. I thought the only reason you did, we don't have any more left, right? Didn't you use it all?
I don't know. I'll have to go look now. I may order some more.
Which reminds me, go to our friends at hopsdirect.com when you want to pick a bad hop and get it shipped to you fast and easy right to your door. They'll ship anything. Oh, I'm going to call them and tell them to tell you not to, oh, yeah, we're out of stock. Sorry. It's so popular. Everyone loves it. I would also love.
It looks like it was released in '98 as a substitution for a Saaz hop.
Shut up. Would you rightfully substitute that for Saaz, James?
No, I don't think I would.
The way you said it, I don't think I would. Of course you wouldn't. That thing was so peppery. I mean, it was like
it does say herbal and spicy with hints of floral and citrus.
The artwork I did for his taplist.io menu board is just a thing of pepper, pre-ground and ground pepper. That's the artwork I made for him. He was like, "Can you make me artwork for the Sterling Pilsner?"
It's funny because when I go on there and look for Sterling, it pulls up saws. So yeah,
That's so funny.
It should say spicy and spicy with hints of spiciness.
Yeah, that's all it should say. Spice with spicy and spiciness. That's I didn't write it down, but I'd be remiss if I didn't say, because he listens to the show, my pop right now while we're recording this is getting an ablation on his heart because he has AFib, and so it's routine. I'm not worried about it, but Pop, hope you're doing better and recovering.
Well, He's getting a what? I don't know
it's
what
called
that is.
An ablation, ABLATION. It's trying to, I think, cut the nerves or like lasering some nerves to get your heart, which his heart's in arrhythmia, to get it to go back to regular beating. Because
wow,
arrhythmia apparently is not good. So he wants a normal heart, not a rhythmic heart. He wants
not a regular heartbeat.
Yeah, not an irregular heart. So he's trying to get the regular heart today. I don't know how many days it takes before they know if it worked or not. I think for AFib, again, we're living in the best time ever, friends, to be a home brewer, to be a human, whatever. I think worst case scenario, worst case is heart attack and all that. Sorry, Pop. But worst case for probability is he's going to be on meds the rest of his life, right? Like that. Like if he can't get out of AFib from this surgery. But praying for you, Pop, that it does get out, that the surgery works. And we need you mainly because we haven't brewed the breakfast stout yet this year. So if you could just make it through maybe mid-November, Pop, that would be good. No, I'm kidding. He knows I care about him, but he does listen to the show, and I know when he's watching or listening because I'll get one text message at a time. Like one time we were talking about on the 300th episode, who's that really fine-looking lady who aged real well? He texted me when he was watching the show, Salma Hayek. That was her name, guys. We forgot it. Salma Hayek. And woo, she's still fine.
Yeah, she will forever be smoking hot.
Yeah, and you can put that in your 1-star review, Dragonfly Lady, if you're going to write an update on Apple iTunes. You tell her, they wouldn't stop talking about sandals. They think they're called titties and Salma Hayek. You got that right.
Humor.
Yeah, you got that right, lady. Toilet humor. Or 12-year-old humor, however she said it. But anyways, that's all the small talk I have. Again, for the recipe, if you go to patreon.com/homebrew happy hour, join one of those tiers. You get to brew with us the California Common. Every month we send out a recipe. If you join the $35 tier, you get it every other month. But 99% of the time, if you joined it and you're like, because I want the California Common, I'll work with you on when every other month starts for you. Just don't burn me. One guy burned us once, and now I get kind of paranoid. But either way, with all that being said, guys, I don't have proper listener feedback, so let's just get into the questions. Our first question for the week is a voicemail that came from our buddy Mark from Michigan.
Hey guys, it's Mark from Michigan. Congrats on your recent 300th episode. I got a bunch of fun-loving, heavily accidented relatives that live in Texas, so listening to you guys every week makes me feel like I'm hanging out with family. Earlier this year, you talked about adding a Sankey coupler to homebrew setups to be able to serve commercial beers. I was recently browsing the clearance section of a homebrew website, not Keg Connection, I know, silly me. And Impulse bought a deeply discounted coupler without looking at the details. And when it arrived, I realized I had bought a European-style coupler, not the U.S. type. So my first question is, do any of the commercial kegs in the U.S. actually use that, like a European style coupler, or do I just now have this really cool beer related paperweight? And secondly, maybe you could touch on the variety of couplers out there for your audience, so they don't make the same stupid mistake I did. Yeah, Josh is great. You guys are too. Thanks. Bye.
Heavily accented. It's called a speech impediment, Mark. It's not an accent. No.
I think he was talking about Texas accents.
Yeah, I know he was.
Yeah, he's probably zeroing in on mine. I get it all the time.
I still love that story from DC. We tell too much. I'm not going to go over, but golly, where are you from? I'm from Austin. Not you, idiot. Where are you from? I'm pointing to James. With couplers, I think my rule of thumb that I was always told, I think by Todd, I'm gonna blame you for it. Isn't it like 95% of domestic beers use the Sankey D coupler, Todd?
Yeah, and I think some beers, I think there used to be a lot more European style taps out there, and a lot of them have kind of gone away from it. So they're possibly brewing it here, or they're using American kegs. That's the reason I think you're seeing less. But you definitely still see some S. I'm assuming he's talking about S because he just said European. So he's probably talking about S. The only difference between an S coupler and a D coupler is the actual probe. So the end of the probe is slightly longer, and that is the only difference. You could take a decoupler probe and put it in that coupler, and it would. I'm pretty sure it would work. So, the other types of couplers that you see the most would be a U, a G, and an A, and I can't remember 100%. I know that the A is German.
The slider, right?
I think we'd have to look it up. I think between the other two, the U and the G, one of them is Guinness and all the other beers they brew at that brewery, and then the other one is British, UK, more on the England side, not the. I was about to say UK, but it's all UK, right? So, so it's kind of like Irish, English, German, and then S is everything else. So Heineken would be an S, for example. Although I'm not positive Heineken kegs in the U.S. are still S. I don't know. I'd have to look it up.
That's an interesting point because I didn't think about that. As more breweries or brands are from overseas have brewing operations in the States, you would think they would use D kegs, St. D kegs here.
Yeah, they probably do
right?
in most cases.
I don't know. I mean, when's the last time you bought a commercial keg, guys? I couldn't. Or I mean,
a commercial.
Party.
Did we last Christmas party or 2 Christmases ago?
No, it was when we had it at the downtown.
Oh, that was like 4 Christmases
Pretty
ago.
much all the commercial beers we buy would be American craft beers, although we would love to buy I'm sure we'd love to buy a German one, right, guys? So
oh yeah,
maybe we should do that sometime. That'd be fun or we could just brew that style.
Yeah, that's what you
there you go
all the time. I'm no stranger to clearance sale impulse purchases, Mark, but how dare you? You didn't. No, we didn't have those on clearance, but it is smart for a home brewer to keep commercial couplers, especially like Todd. You use MFL connections on everything. You use them because you like to swap. You like to have the ability to swap between either Paul Lock and Penlock or St. because you just grab a keg from the office when you need a keg. Now lately they've 99% of the time you've been getting ball locks. I don't know if that's just out of convenience or availability.
I just have a bunch of them at my house for whatever reason, but I will use Penlocks too. And
that's why you have the MFL connections is so that you can just
I can go back and forth. Go to Sankey if I want to do a Sankey. I haven't done a Sankey in a long time, but yeah.
So with the S, I mean, let's say hypothetically he's never going to use it because I imagine like most clearance sites they do sites websites final this or that. I mean, you made a claim earlier about the S possibly working on the D. Is that what you said, or did I mishear you?
No. What I said was they're exactly the same except for a little bit of height on the end of it. So you could probably switch out a probe. You know what? Hell, maybe you could cut off the end and it would work. I don't know. Cut it off and grind it down a little bit. Yeah. That'd be a fun experiment for somebody that has absolutely nothing to do with it.
Hold on. Homebrew Happy Hour legal department just in. Don't try that. I don't know if that actually.
It says Heineken still uses the S.
Okay. So, Mark.
So it says Heineken, Amstel, Pilsner, Urquell.
Hey, Urquell uses it. All right.
Urquell. How do you Urquell?
Pilsner Urquell. Yeah.
And I love that beer.
It's one of my favorites.
Newcastle and many, many more.
We actually
that's assuming that description's not 20 years old. But yeah.
I'll put it in the show notes because we have old articles about but one of the first ones we ever back when we did draftbeerinfo.com, Todd, before when Homebrew Happy Hour was just a twinkle in my eye. We had a website called draftbeerinfo.com that is now defunct and shut down. But I wrote an article about keg couplers and a master list. And remember how much traffic we got on that link, that article? We got hit up a ton. We actually used to do a huge mail campaign to liquor stores. This was 2009. And you still get phone calls sometimes from those mail outs from 2009, mainly because they want you to honor the prices of 2009. Like,
right.
I see that this coupler is only going to be $20. Like, did you check the date on that stamp?
Yeah,
So
you cracked me up a minute ago because you said when it was what did you say? A twinkle in your eye.
Yeah.
No, because we had a customer come in yesterday, a wholesale guy. And he said he called another guy and he had him on speakerphone, and all the ladies that work here were sitting around working. And he goes, "What you doing?" And he goes, "Oh, I'm making a baby right now."
What?
So he was in the doctor's office with his wife. They were talking to the in vitro doctor.
Well, see, I was thinking something completely different.
Yeah.
Everybody was. Yeah. Everybody got real silent and turned around, and then
that's fantastic.
The guy looked, he was like, I have you on speakerphone, and a bunch of people just turned around.
He's like, no, in vitro. It's in vitro. I didn't realize that how far medical science has come, that they are. I don't think we're at the point of picking traits for babies fully, but they're pretty good. They can pick gender. They're like, that's probably what he meant. He's like, we're making a baby. We're going to have a girl. And they're getting pretty good at that.
I didn't know they could pick gender. Huh?
If you're doing it through in vitro, I'm like 95% sure they can.
That's what happened. That's what's happened in China is that with the one child policy, there's a lot more males than females now. Yeah. So that's kind of scary. Yeah.
It's kind of scary. Yeah. Well, if I would have known, I might not have had 3 girls. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
I didn't control. When we got the third kid, that was a daughter, I think my pop said something along the lines of, well, not every man can make a son, or something like that. I forgot.
Yeah, sure.
I am kidding. You're a father of all of us are only girls. What am I talking about? I'm preaching to the choir. None of us.
Yep. Well, none of us have ever had a boy.
None of us had a boy. And I'm snipped. I'm done. You're snipped. You're done. James,
oh, yeah.
James, there's still hope? Huh?
I'm just old.
You're going to find Mrs. Right. I promise you.
I'm age snipped.
Anyway, so to wrap up Mark's...
Moving on.
Yeah, wrapping up Mark's question, though, after I went down the rabbit hole of in vitro. So... Yeah, my non-joking kind of joking answer is like in the future, make sure you know what you're buying. But if you want to, maybe this is a good chance to try a beer you would not have tried before if you can get it at your liquor store. Like Todd just said, Pilsner Urquell, if you could get that, get it. And now you have a coupler for it. That's a fantastic beer. It's one of my favorite Pilsners in the world. It's just that Czechvar, or no, not Czechvar. What did we have? Budvar.
Budvar.
I know you can get Czechvar here, which is pretty close to Budvar, which was like
it's the same thing.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, they had to change the name.
Wait, so when
for the United States market.
Oh, when it's exported, that's when it becomes Czechvar.
When it's exported to the United States.
Yeah, right. Interesting. So because Budvar is too close to Budweiser. I got you.
Yeah, there was a big lawsuit over it, and because it was the original Budweiser, but Budweiser has a lot of money.
They do have a lot. Anheuser-Busch does. Who would have thought? Okay, well, see, I bought, when we went to Fredericksburg that trip at the place, I got the Czechvar, and stupid me who didn't know, I was like, yeah, man, this tastes just like Budvar. And when I was telling my wife, and she could not care less, she's having some Prosecco or something like that. Cool story, honey. Cool story. Like, no, this tastes just like it.
So the name of the brewery in the Czech Republic is Budweiser Budvar Brewery.
Is that, it's in Pilsen or is it in Prague? Because I thought there was the brewery in.
In the Czech city of
Now you sound like me.
I have no idea. I have absolutely no idea how to pronounce it.
Oh, well, remember we had it on draft and it was phenomenal. And like you said, the original Budvar. But that's good to know because I get Czechvar is at my local Specs, I believe, is the liquor store. It's available here, and it's pretty cheap for an import, as it should be. It's not a very complicated beer, but if you want to know what the original tasted like, friends, go get you some Czechvar. But for Mark, get you a keg of Pilsner Urquell, dude. That is totally worth it. A Czech Pilsner is my favorite Pilsner. I say that German Pilsner is my favorite. The Pilsner is becoming my favorite, James. Kolsch,
Yeah,
and
me
then
too.
right beneath the Kolsch is that pressure Pils. I can't say enough good things about it. And every time I do, you're like, it's like the easiest beer I've ever brewed. I'm like, well, then let's do it more. It was phenomenal.
Definitely.
It was so good. But anyways, I'm a simple man, guys. I don't have to tell you all that. So Mark, or if y'all have any feedback from Mark as well, leave it in the comment section below. If you're an audio-only listener, you can call in your voicemail to 325-305-6107. Get yourself a $25 gift card like our buddy Mark here just did. But if you leave it as a text or go to homebrewhappyhour.com and click on that submit a question link at the top of the page, you still get a $15 gift card, which I think is pretty stinking good. Moving on to our second question, which is a text message from our buddy Kyle at 325-305-6107. Kyle wrote, bought a CF10 after hearing you guys speak highly of Spike. This is my first Conical. At what point does my fermentation become secondary? If I dump the Trub, does it matter if I don't dump it and transfer into a keg immediately once I hit numbers? Thanks for your help. We do speak highly of Spike. Those CF lines, very good. They made good. And I'm really interested. I emailed oh gosh, now I'm blanking on names. Who was our Ryan Otston? Emailed him to say like, hey man, if you want us to do a video review on those new, have you seen the new stuff they're making with the leads on it? I think they're calling them the tank. The new kettles and fermenters, they're real cool, and they've added front loading on the mash tun or unloading, I guess, for cleanup and all that, like they do in their nano line. But anyways, for the fermenter though, y'all use the CF15, both of you do, in the brew room in there. Fantastic piece of equipment. Is this arguing semantics, James, about what primary fermentation is and secondary, or like how would you answer this? If he dumps the Trub and leaves it in the fermenter, is this now?
He's fine.
But
is
that's now
kind
considered
of what
secondary?
that's for.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would say if you were real technical, you probably, for secondary fermentation, to call it that, you would probably transfer it to another vehicle,
or vessel.
A vessel, vehicle. Yeah, you can put it in your car. You just dump it in the back of your truck, and that works fine. No, but I think it does the same thing, regardless of what you call it.
Right. Well,
if you dump the Trub and you let it cold crash, that we do that all the time. James and I both do it in our fermenters. Then that's what you're doing.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but the idea,
you're just clarifying.
The idea with secondary though too is either allowing time to clarify or whatever dry hopping or whatever you add, whatever you're doing in that process, you're taking out the Trub, the yeast cake, to prevent any possibility of reinvigorating fermentation. Isn't that the idea, or am I wrong on that?
Just you just don't want it to set on the yeast cake, for too long. And also, if you don't have the benefit of a conical with the dump valve in the bottom, it's for clarifying as well. I know with the Spike, the cool thing about the Spike conicals is they have two valves. They have one. No, they don't. They have one on the end, but there's a 90 that comes out the bottom. You technically, if you wanted to, you could put a ball valve right there at the bottom of the conical, and then put the 90 on and put another valve, and then leave them both leave the top one open when you do your primary, leave the bottom one shut. And then when you get done, if you want to dump the Trub, shut the top one, undo it, and dump the Trub, because Trub's gravity is going to make the Trub go all the way down to that 90 piece of tubing, and then you could dump it that way.
Interesting. I didn't think about that. Yeah. I do. What I like about all these new modern, like the CF line and the Blickman line and the SS line, all those, you could really MacGyver the hell out of them. And I say MacGyver, they're modular. Like you could do all this, and it's not it's not MacGyvering at all. It's just adding components to achieve what you're trying to achieve, whether it's like test valves or, like you said, dump lines and whatnot. Todd, you look like you want to say something.
Oh, just going to mention, if you are doing, when you are dumping your Trub, make sure that you don't have your blow-off tube still in the sanitizer.
Tell us why.
because it will suck up the sanitizer and dump it on top of your beer.
Yeah, I go, "Ooh."
Wait a second. When did this happen?
I've never done it,
Oh,
but
okay.
I've started to do it before. Like I've started to dump it and then went, oh shit, so I've never actually done it, but I've come close several times, and I have to be real cognizant of the fact that I definitely don't want to do that while it's because you're done with your primary. Usually you're still in the blow off tube stage. And then with the spike, typically they've got another head you put on, and you replace the one that's coming off and going into your bucket or whatever with sanitizer, and then you can pressurize it. Well, so it's you don't really want to take it off and not have it on there and do it, or you're going to be bringing oxygen in, and you don't want to leave it on and suck sanitizer in. So make sure you put that head on and maybe put a tiny bit of pressure on it before you dump all that Trub out.
This is we've gone over this before, how it's not really, a lot of people are just skipping secondary and going straight from, they hit their numbers into a keg and kind of cold conditioning in the keg. But Todd, you are still one of the fans. You're holding out. You're a fan of secondary a lot of the times. And not only that, you prefer transferring into clear carboys, glass carboys, and letting them cold condition in there. When you have that nice piece of equipment, are you freeing up the Conical for more brew days?
That's not true. You're just making stuff
No,
up.
I'm not. I've seen secondaries in your fridge all the time.
Yeah, because I've used my spike, and now I'm using one of my other fermenters, so I don't have any choice.
Well, you don't usually do primary.
I have never ever taken beer out of my spike and put it into carboys and put it in the fridge.
You haven't. Okay, so if you're using
because we have a cooling coil.
Well, that's what I always wondered, because I every time I see them, I assume that they started there. So they started in buckets.
I use those new fermenters that we have a lot now.
And you don't want to use
the pressure ferment,
and you don't have glycol hooked up to those. We don't have cooling coils for those yet, right? Okay.
No. So I just put them in I don't mind doing secondaries at all. I mean, anytime I do a secondary, especially, that's a great example, because with those you can pressurize them. So when I put them into the secondaries, there's never any oxygen introduced. I mean, so I always purge the glass carboys with CO2 real well, cap them, transfer it in there from the pressurized vessel into the secondary. So all you're doing is it puts liquid in there as you're pushing CO2 out. You never get any oxygen. And then if I'm going from buckets, I will, of course, all I do is purge it, because there's really no way from buckets to there probably is, but most people wouldn't pressurize a bucket and try to transfer it that way.
No, I can't imagine. Okay, so I missed it. I always wondered, because I thought he has a Conical, but you're doing that because you already have beer in. You're brewing so much, you already have beer going there, so you use buckets, then you go from buckets to carboys. Because I don't think I've ever seen you do primary in glass carboys. Or are you saying you do primary?
No,
okay.
Never.
Okay. Because I've seen carboys in there. You can't tell me I haven't. You make up stuff. You
do, because they're always secondary. They're never.
Oh no, they're
never
secondary.
coming. They're never coming from the spike.
Okay, okay. I didn't know that. I just assumed, because sometimes you have. What's the most you could fit in there? 5 underneath there? Or
5 what?
Glass carboys.
In my fridge? Yeah. Oh no, 3, maybe 4. 3.
Well, 3 would be a one batch of how you brew, because you're brewing 17-ish gallons.
Yeah, and
okay, so that's all from the same batch.
Just transferred out of secondaries last night and kegged them, or it was the night before, and force carbonated them, and I actually brought one for James. And in fact, James, after the podcast, we should try it.
Yeah, definitely.
We're
going to keg that. I wanted to say it's a new recipe I'm working on. I originally called it a dark lager, but I think it's more of a brown lager. Ooh. But that'll be ready to keg, because I think it's cold crashed. It's cold crashed.
So we should do that. Let's try that beer out. It's the Sierra Nevada
the
Pale Ale clone that we did, and I brewed it. When was that? When did everybody get that?
2 months ago. That was
2 months ago.
August.
I'm a little behind.
The August for kit. The kit for August, not the August for kits. The kit for August.
Yeah. So I've been brewing every recipe that we do on the Trub Club lately, and I have to say that one. I've done a lot of clones in my life, and that one seems really close to Sierra Nevada. Sierra Nevada is a pale ale. It's a very old beer, one of the first craft beers. But to me, it always tastes fairly hoppy. You know what I mean? But not in a bad way. Like James, you said you bought a 6-pack of it the other day.
I did. I forgot how good it is. It's delicious.
Where'd you find it? I say, where'd you find it? It's like the most common craft beer distributor
at United Brownwood.
Yeah. Okay. And you've told me though, y'all's Comanche liquor store has decent selection a lot of the time, right? That's where you get the Weissteiner.
Yeah, in fact, they're putting a Specs in Stephenville. So.
No way. Hey.
Yeah. I heard it on the news the other day.
I won't even have to leave the area now.
That's right. Well, and if you get in good with the beer purchaser there, you're set. Yeah, that's what I've done with. I'm friends with the guy at HEB. I happen to go to high school with him, but he's the one who was able to get Frew at the San Marcos HEB for a while he was the beer purchaser there, and not just the mini kegs. But now because he's not there, if I want Frew reasonably priced, I gotta either go to South Austin or New Braunfels. I can't get it in San Marcos anymore. What a rip. They don't want to keep ordering it for one person who keeps buying cases of it. So, go figure. But anyways, Kyle, I think so with this Conical, first off, do you recommend dumping it at all, James? Or do you say, hey, if you don't want to do secondary and you don't have glycol, you just transfer to the keg when you hit your numbers and cold condition in that? And
it transfers a lot better when it's cold because it doesn't stir up as easy, the Trub and the old dead yeast. But if you can't do that, you can still, because keep in mind, there's a bottom valve and a valve right where the conical tapers down. You're drawing from that, and it's got a dip tube that's curved, so you can point it up and then follow it down until it runs cloudy, and then shut it off.
Perfect. And if he does have a cooling coil and all that, are you known to empty your Trub while you're letting it cold condition, and like once you hit your numbers, then you dump it, or how do you?
Yeah, we normally do. Yeah.
Just
you
because
do too, James, right?
I don't. I just leave it because think about it. When we get it cold crashed, I think it's a little more resistant to any off flavors because it's cold, it's under pressure.
I thought you did. I remember seeing you open it and pull all the. Are you just doing that because you do that? I was thinking maybe you do it to capture the yeast, but so you don't do. You used to do that. You don't do that anymore.
Well, it seemed to be. I just don't want to waste any potential beer that could end up in a keg, and it kind of packs around the bottom, and it's kind of hard to get it flushed out without removing.
Yeah, I don't remove all of it, but I've noticed sometimes I will open the valve and it'll just come out in a glob, like a. I don't want to be too descriptive.
Like a sausage grinder.
Like a sausage grinder coming out. That's much better than what I had in my mind. So it comes out like that, and then sometimes I open it and beer just shoots all around the sides, and I don't know why.
Yeah. And here's something I thought about while we were talking about this earlier. You really don't need two valves. You just need to get an extra tri-clamp and a blank, like a plug. And what you would do is you would put the valve right at the bottom and then attach the 90-degree to the valve and then put a blank and a tri-clamp and a gasket on the very end, leave it open, and then gravity's going to it's going to want to accumulate in that very bottom tube. Then you just shut the valve, unhook it, dump it, hook it back up, and you're done. You've dumped. I wouldn't open the valve up again for risk of oxidation, but at least you would catch that tube's, inch and a half, 2 inches, and it's probably a foot. So it'll catch the bulk of the junk at the bottom of the conical.
There's a lot of options when you own a modular piece of equipment. You got a lot of options, right? So I'll say this too, Kyle. Feel free to email tburns@kegconnection.com or jcarlson@kegconnection.com with all your questions.
Or if you want to just get that forwarded, you can email help@kegconnection.com.
That's right. And they're going to get it anyway. You're right. Go to help@kegconnection.com is the one I should give out because you're right. I'm a master at forwarding. Thank you so much, Kyle, for submitting that question. Y'all's reminder that when you do send us a text or an email to joshua@homebrewhappyhour.com or the submit a question link at the top of homebrewhappyhour.com, you get a $15 gift card, or call and leave us a voicemail like our third question for this show, Joel from Montana, who's getting a $25 gift card to kegconnection.com for this voicemail.
Hey guys, this is Joel from Montana. I was just listening to your newest, it's not a podcast, it's called a episode.
That's right.
And anyway, Jake from Michigan asked a question about how long to boil his hops if it's only a 15-minute addition. And it got me thinking, what if he meant, why am I boiling it for an hour? What's the point if your hop addition is only 15 minutes? I don't know if that's what he actually meant, but that really sounds interesting. What would happen if you did what Jake was proposing and you only did it the amount of time for your hop addition? That's a good question. Anyway, love the show. That just had me thinking, so I thought you'd like some listener feedback. All right. Congrats on the 300 too. That's awesome.
I spared Joel the now time for listener because he said feedback at the end, but it was kind of a follow up, and I don't have a listener follow up. And it was a question though too, because
isn't follow up and feedback kind of the same thing?
It is, and I also want to address this. I got accused once, many episodes ago, of faking questions or at least names because they're like, "Oh, Jake from Montana," or "This is Joel from Montana."
Yeah. What are you wearing, Jake from Montana?
Yeah, this is Joel from Montana. See, yeah. This is Joel. This is Joel from Montana, and then look. But the question, the hops one was Jake from Michigan. All these J names, people are like, "Josh, you're real original." I'm not smart enough to come up with if it's a really dumb question, y'all can assume I'm gonna fake it. Yeah, that's me. I confess up. I mean, I haven't faked them, but I would. But you will know when I fake a question because it will be like, well, Bob from Fort Worth said, Josh, Kolsch is awesome, and those other two are idiots, and I just wanted to tell you that. But anyways, Joel from Montana, it is a good point. I got a lot of feedback from people, some less cordial than this, that saying like, no, Jake from Michigan didn't mean how y'all answered it, which I have to go back and listen because I don't remember how we answered it, James. He meant if it's only a 15-minute addition, meaning for people who are brand new listening, that you add the hops with 15 minutes left of your boil, which is traditionally 60 total minutes. So when there's 15 left, you would add these hops, and that's the only hops you add for this specific recipe. They're like, well, then why do 60 at all? Because you're not going for bittering anyway. It's a good question. James, what do you think?
Well, I mean, technically, if you're not using unmodified malts, you could probably get away with doing just a 15-minute boil. But you got to remember the boil is also for sterilization and killing bacteria. So there can be an argument to be made if you're doing a 15-minute hop addition, you're not really worried about creating any hop bittering units because it takes a lot longer to boil. I think I've read articles that say minimum 30 minutes to create bittering units. I do a 60-minute boil for my bittering units, and that's how I calculate my recipes. But if you're just doing 15 and you're using 2-row highly modified malt, probably be okay. But I just like peace of mind. So if I know it's boiled longer, people say you get better hop utilization with a longer boil. I've tried to do duplicates of German beers, like especially when we first started doing True to Style and the Kolsch and the alt beer. I was doing 90-minute boils because they do it over there for DMS. A lot of other reasons too, but they're not using modified malts. It's really not that big a deal. But I like to do a 60-minute boil minimum because I like to make sure all the bacteria has been taken care of, the wort's sterilized, and I don't think I've ever done a beer that didn't have a bittering addition. So that's my 2 cents.
Here's my injection of something that's possibly stupid. You talked about sterilization. It made me think, is there a rule of thumb about, you have to have, like if you're going to put your immersion chiller in there, because that's what you're going to use to bring it down, is 15 minutes, that is enough in a boil to get that sterilized, right?
Yeah, I think so.
What's the minimum to sterilize something in boiling?
15. That's my
opinion.
I
used to always say 10 to stare for water, and then I read you don't have to do it near that long. So
for water,
I don't really know what to believe anymore. Yeah,
I do know subjective.
I do know that Jonathan does a lot of 30-minute boils.
Is that what he said?
Or he does 30-minute boils because he suggested I do one the other day.
Jonathan Marut of the Marut Minute, which I'm going to make a segment because he leaves me so much feedback. I solicit it though. He's saving up for a brow tag. So 15 on the if your hop addition was 15, do you think, because this recipe that we're talking about, this is a session IPA Lorena developed, do you think she chose 15 specifically because of sterilization, James? Like 15 is enough to get your immersion chiller done. You drop your Whirlfloc tablet in, you do the hop addition, and you're good to go.
Did she specify the 15 as the hop addition or the boil too?
No, just the hops. No.
Okay,
on the recipe,
that 15-minute is just for what she's wanting to get out of the hops.
Right. Oh, no, right. I've worded that wrong. I mean, like but for this recipe, because you're not wanting bittering units in theory,
right,
then he could, using these highly modified malts that 95% of us are using. I keep pulling 95% out of my butt this episode. 95% of us use modified malt. Yeah. So he's probably going to be fine because he's not going to get DMS. He's not going to get, or I say he's not going to get DMS. I don't know. I've never thought to do it that short because, like you said, peace of mind, an hour is just kind of been tradition for me. Right. That's how I learned.
Yeah. But I would say probably if that's the case, you can always research the malt you buy. All the malters have websites and they give you detailed information on their malt. 15 minutes bare minimal. I wouldn't do it less than that, but I would, for me, I'm just going to do a 60-minute boil. That's the way I've always done it.
I've never done a less than 60-minute boil.
Yeah.
And
I've done a lot of 90-minute
Don't tell
bowls.
Jonathan that, though. I don't want him to think that I ignored his advice.
He'll be used to it. I ignore him all the time. Well, not on purpose. Some days my phone is blowing up with messages, which reminds me, I tell people all the time for the Trub Club, if you have questions or something about your membership, text 325-305-6107. I get it immediately. And if I don't have your name on it, I'm usually quicker to reply. If we're friendly enough, I have your name on it, I'm like, snooze for an hour. I'll get back to them. But you know about that, Todd. But for Joel,
I was just about to say I should start using that.
You should use it. No, but I have your name in my contacts. I'm like, it's just Todd. No, people, like I said, people left me a lot of feedback saying, I think this is what that question meant. How about some feedback for what you would do? Have you done a 15-minute boil only? Let us know in the comments below. If you're watching us at youtube.com/homebrew happy hour, or email me feedback, because I've heard of 30 minutes. I've known Brewlosophy has done plenty of those experiments with 30 minutes. I don't know if they've done a 15. I won't say that I know for sure because I don't consume all their content, but I've never heard of a 15-minute boil only and what the results from that would be. I don't necessarily know if I want to test it because if it doesn't turn out good, I'm just to be pissed. I'm gonna be like, who told me 15? It tastes like pepper beer now.
Well, because it could have been totally avoidable, when it's your fault. It's not hard. It's hard to take.
It is. I know. But because it's me, I blame someone else. Why'd I listen to them? I always do 16. I didn't do 60 this time because I listened to Joel from Montana. No, I'm kidding. Joel from Montana. We do. And he's a real person. More of you J names or the generic names like Josh or James or Todd, you guys leave more voicemails so people stop going like, oh, how convenient. James from DeSoto, not DeSoto, James from DeLeon left the question. That sounds like a real person. Anyways, Joel.
No, they would know my voice.
They would know.
Cover that up.
Well, remember for 300, you were going to leave a voicemail like, no, they'll know. No, they'll know.
Yeah. You guys are awesome. Or do something self-deprecating.
That's what
you guys don't know what you're talking about. That guy that talks like a hick, what'd you get him at?
What a backwoods dork. Anyways, Joel, thank you so much for submitting that. Our fourth and final question for this week comes from our buddy Mike from Florida, who used the submission form at homebrewhappyhour.com. Mike wrote in, Mike from Florida here again, seeking advice from the Keg King himself. Todd, you have spoken on the show about having to get CO2 cylinders pressure tested when they expire. However, I'm wondering if stainless steel kegs ever need to be pressure tested or go through some recertification process too. It might be a simple answer, but I haven't heard anything about it and thought you might know. Keep up the great work, fellas. Mike. Yeah, Mike from Florida. Sure, you exist. No, Mike, that's a good question. Yeah, we talk about it on the show mainly in the context that Todd makes He tells me if I bring an out-of-date cylinder, nobody's allowed to fill it there unless I want to take the risk, because he knows I'm not going to do it because I'm terrified of the filling station. I don't have any reason to be. It's very safe, but I'm terrified.
Oh yeah, you do. There's a lot of pounds in that cylinder.
There's a lot of pounds, and it becomes.
Yeah, I mean, you may want to be concerned if you're filling a tank out of Hydro Day.
See, I know. That's why you.
People generally don't do that because they can explode.
I know why they don't do it, and you've told Vilver and I are hermanos. We go way back, and that's the one thing he won't do for me. He won't.
Well, yeah, because I told him, I'm like, don't let him talk.
Yeah, you got
that.
a sign.
I mean, you're like, hey, Vilver, you mind filling? Hey, man, is Todd around?
I do.
You mind filling the cylinder?
Oh, that is exactly what I do. Do you have cameras back up? Is that what you
No, I know you.
I look over my shoulder and in Spanish, very slightly, por favor, and give him, necesito aire en la botella, por favor. He's like, no ayuda. I'm like, what do you mean no ayuda? Oh,
La fecha no está bien.
Yeah, he does. He looks at the date. I hate you. But anyways, with kegs, though, it's a good question because those kegs hold a lot of pressure. I say a lot. It's not compared to a CO2 cylinder.
Not 1,800 PSI.
Not 1,800 PSI. Is that why we don't have a recertification process? Because they don't ever go above?
You don't have to hydro a keg.
Right. Because they're not really high-pressure vessels? Or what is the reason?
No, they're not that high. I mean, they're 135, but you're not... And they're also designed so they have a pressure relief valve on the top, which, I mean, technically so does a CO2 cylinder, but that's more for they become too hot and get more pressure than they're rated for, which is the same as keg, actually. But you know what I mean. They're not, you do not have to, they have safety features built into them so that they will basically vent off from the valve before they would blow up. And I learned this when I was taking the tour in Italy, because I've always said we absolutely cannot sell one of these lids that doesn't have a pressure relief valve on it because that's not safe. Marco, that runs AEB in Italy, told me, Todd, you're actually wrong. These lids without pressure relief valves are purposely made with a weaker part right here so that they will blow out at 135 safely and keep you from hurting yourself. But then, of course, you'd have to throw the lid away. But yeah.
Marco from AEB, who owes me a case of San Pellegrino. Is it that Marco?
He does. Okay. He's not. He doesn't pay his debts. Yeah, he still owes you that case. Doesn't
the only thing that almost took as long as him paying me back for that? Well, actually, it is longer now. I'll just say is the cmbecker.eu website, but that's been done. So Marco, I've done. You owe me.
Oh, it is. Let me go look at it.
It is. Go to cmbecker.eu. Oh yeah. Did you not? Were you so busy calling me numbnuts on our meeting you didn't listen? Or it is ready. Yeah, go to cmbecker.eu. Everybody at home, right now, pause the show. Go to cmbecker.
I went to cmbshunkenlagen.de.
You can look at that. Same. Wow.
Yeah, buddy. In German, too. Yeah. Sprechen Sie
Damn,
Deutsch.
That's impressive. So you're still going to redo. Oh, no, you did do that. Wow.
I did.
That looks pretty good.
I did. When I
dosing tops.
Oh, you put it in English? Don't do that.
Oh, wait a minute. That's just what I did.
Your browser.
Oh, I see.
If you're in Chrome, Chrome wants to automatically translate for you. It's doing you a favor. And
so on the drop down menu, when I have it in German, the drop down menu is still in English.
Only for the faucet part. Yeah, he's going to give me the he's going to give me the translations for those primary categories. Stefan.
No, I'm not.
I'm gonna erase all of this from the episode. Don't go to cmbecker.eu. Give me a 35-minute buffer. I'll fix that. I'll go on Google Translate and just put up the totally wrong. That here's one thing I learned before we wrap up the show. Mike, thank you for submitting the question. You don't have to pressure test because they're not that high pressure, but take care of your kids. Go through the whole cleaning process.
Not pressure test, hydro.
That's what I meant.
Hydro's totally different.
That's what I meant. Sorry, pressure test every time.
Do you know what hydro? Should we talk about what hydro is, just really quick?
Yeah, please.
So with hydro, it's actually done with water. So it's filled with water. It's put in water, and it has to hold a certain amount, or it shows that it's expanded, and then it's not safe to use anymore.
Oh, interesting. I had no idea.
So if it exploded, it would explode water, nothing would happen.
Submerged,
basically.
yeah. Interesting. I didn't know that. I just assumed
I probably said something wrong in there, and we're going to get a lot of feedback.
Yeah, that's not what it means at all. They put but pressure test your keg every time you're going to use it. Otherwise, you're going to go through all of your CO2 if it's connected. If you don't pressure test all from the CO2 cylinder to the actual keg you're tapping, you do want to pressure test every time. Which we're fans of the soapy water method. But anyway, I forgot what I was even saying as I was wrapping up the show and what I wanted to end it on. I was digressing about something, but totally forgot because you had to give real information that mattered about what we're talking about, and I was trying to go down a dang old rabbit hole.
I apologize.
No, don't. I can't remember. It doesn't matter. It wasn't that important. I am going to be up there at the end of next week and then through the following week because our friend James Carlson, I want to insert a round of applause here. He's taking a vacation. He's going in the
much deserved,
and to the middle of nowhere, New Mexico, I'm told.
Yeah, I'm going to, we've got a cabin about 5 miles northwest of Ruidoso, New Mexico, out in the middle of nowhere. Just me and Gracie.
Dude, I love it. I'm so happy that you're doing it. And I know you're going to have cell signal because you're so close to Ruidoso. Turn your phone off. Don't work. just don't work.
Well, I'm worried about Gracie. She's asleep under my desk. But because of the ride, she's not a very good car rider. But once we get up there, I think that'll be good for her to run around. And
y'all gonna have such a good time. I'm super happy for. But yeah, I'll be up. I was gonna come up Monday to ship recipes to Trub Club friends, but I'm gonna prepare them next Friday, and then the following Monday they will go out because I'm staying there through opening weekend, and a hungover Josh is gonna come in Monday morning and ship out recipes.
Yeah. You're going to be the musical entertainment, right?
I am. I love it. That's my favorite thing to do at opening weekend because I don't hunt, so gotta earn my keep somehow. And I am bringing a can of Hill Country green beans. I don't know if you saw that in the group chat. I've got that covered. He's not even listening, guy.
Yeah,
I know.
I don't want to talk about it.
Thank you so much for your time, guys. I'll catch y'all later.
Bye.
See ya.
And that will do it for this episode of the Homebrew Happy Hour. If you have a question you'd like us to discuss on a future episode, go to homebrewhappyhour.com and click on that submit a question link at the top of the page, or be Todd's best friend and leave us a voicemail at 325-305-6107. For the best hops available online, give our friends at hopsdirect.com a visit and pick up what you need for your next brew day. Also, get a pack of Imperial yeast along with premium, delicious, insert other really good word here, recipes from us when you join our Trub Club. Go to patreon.com/homebrew happy hour and come brew with us. On behalf of Todd Burns, James Carlson, and the Pearl Media Network, I'm Joshua Stubing. Thanks for listening.